So if the theory is there's multiple porphyry centers, but they're all of similar age, so let's say all within 5 million years or so, where's it all coming from at depth? Like, how can you explain this kind of event that could have formed multiple porphyry centers?
Yeah, so it's the best way to think of it is like my hand. There would be a magma body, sort of a pluton at depth, and then the fingers would be different, what you call porphyry centers. But basically, a porphyry copper deposit is a failed volcano. It's a volcano that erupted in the earth. It didn't get to the surface. It's basically the same exact processes, and so when you get that eruption, each of these fingers would be a separate eruption, and so you get the magma escapes from the palm of the hand or the pluton at depth, and it comes up in these porphyry dikes. Porphyry is just a texture in the rocks. It's, here you would have a granite, just like a countertop would look like. These rocks look different because the magma was injected into the wall rock. It never made it to the surface as a lava flow. But the porphyry dikes, they come off, and it's usually these discrete episodes. So it's just like you'd imagine Mount St. Helens. One eruption or series of eruptions in a 10-year time span would be one porphyry center. We don't have a great sense in the time scales of how these form, but that is an example of how a porphyry would form. And you usually get a number of those eruptions in the same area because it's a place of weakness at the top of that pluton. And so that's why these things cluster, is you get just a series of these, eruptions are a simple way to think of it. It's just these time events where another series of intrusions or porphyry dikes were injected, and along with that comes the hot water, the hydrothermal fluids, and the copper, the sulfur, and everything else that is in a porphyry system. So it's just the mechanism of trapping it. And if you don't trap it underground, it erupts out in the big ash plume that you're familiar with. And so it really is that overlapping of multiple events over a couple million year time period. 5 million, like you said, is actually pretty spot on, is with timelines with how these things form.
So sometime between 210 and 205 million years ago, this was a very active place where we wouldn't have been alive for very long.
Yeah,
if we
you
were standing here.
wouldn't have been standing here. For sure. Yeah, definitely not.